Hello, welcome to the Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection. Um, Today, we will be providing an overview of the new food vendor rules. This video is meant to be an informational video, providing background info on a new set of rules and regulations that the Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection has enacted. This will be the agenda for today's informational video. We are going to, once again, go over food vendor rules. We're going to cover the publishing of proposed food vendor rules, a public comment period that has since concluded, when the department published the final version of the rules, the implementation date of the rules, and then we will provide you with a walkthrough of the rules, providing you with a layman terms explanation. We will also inform consumers how they may file a complaint, inform workers of how they can file a complaint, and then provide contact information for individuals to file a complaint if necessary. So the food vendor rules were introduced to provide clarity and guidance on the common practice of service fees and surcharges being imposed by food vendors. BACP wants to ensure that consumers, food vendors themselves, and workers are all aware of city requirements and the protections that are available to all relevant stakeholders. This was the process that BACP followed to establish these food vendor rules. To start off with, in conjunction with the city's law department, proposed rules were drafted and published on the Business Affairs and Consumer Protection website, as well as the Office of Labor Standards website, which is a division or unit of the Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection. The proposed draft of the rules were published on Monday, February 5th of 2024, which also started a 21-day public comment period. That 21-day public comment period concluded on Monday, February 26th of 2024. In addition to accepting public comments, meetings were held with both worker advocates and representatives of the restaurant industry to take into account their public comments. The final version of the rules were published on the City of Chicago's rules portal on Friday, May 31st, 2024, and then the rules went into effect about a week ago on Monday, July 1st of 2024. Again, the rules can be accessed by visiting the City of Chicago rules portal. We will make a PDF copy of this deck presentation available to everyone. It'll have a direct active link. So you would go to the city's rules portal, then you can filter by department and choose BACP. On the bottom left-hand corner of your screen right now, you see the rules portal, and then you see that you can filter or query by department. You may also email bacpoutreach@cityofchicago.org to ask for a direct copy of the food vendor rules. There are 5 rules. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through the actual rules themselves. So rule number 1, in essence, is asks that food vendors clearly and prominently display prices for items that they are selling, service fees and surcharges at the beginning of the ordering or sales process. We ask that you specify whether the service fee or the surcharge is a percentage of the bill or is it a set dollar amount. So for example, is it 5% of the final bill or is it a $2 flat fee? Information on the service fees and surcharges must be displayed on any advertising that contains pricing information, and that specific advertising piece is used by a consumer immediately prior to placing an order or a sale. So common examples of what we mean by an advertising medium include but are not limited to a paper menu, an online menu, including any QR code generated menu, any freestanding signage inside a restaurant, a mobile application, or a website through which orders can be placed. Obviously, a consumer would not use a billboard on the side of a highway to place an order. So the disclosure of service fees and surcharges would not have to be displayed on a billboard on the side of the road. So that's the first rule. The city is not dictating what surcharges can be included or limiting what surcharges a food vendor wants to charge. We're just encouraging or mandating that people disclose those surcharges. So common examples of surcharges might be like non-wage compensation for staff. So for example, you may offer to add a surcharge to a bill to provide medical or dental insurance to an employee. You can have a surcharge to deal with rising operational costs, such as real estate costs or like a credit card processing fee. You can institute a surcharge to facilitate a large group. So for example, some food vendors may choose to tack on a surcharge for parties over 6 customers, for example, or you can have a surcharge that deals with service issues, such as a dining fee, a delivery fee, a takeout fee, an additional fee to split a bill up between a couple of credit cards would be common examples of surcharges. So that's the first rule. The second rule, we are asking that you disclose the purpose of the service fees and surcharges. So just provide a list and describe how the collected service fee or surcharge is going to be used. And then that rule also states that if a customer or a consumer asks you for an explanation on what a green surcharge might be, to provide an explanation at the request of the consumer. The third rule, it's to indicate whether a service fee or a surcharge is mandatory. So for example, can it be removed at the request of a consumer? And then we also want to point out that we do not want food vendors to mislabel fees or surcharges as a tip or gratuity. So for example, language that says a party of 6 or more will be charged an automatic 18% gratuity would not be permissible under the new rules, but you can modify the language to say a party of 6 or more will be charged an 18% service fee. That would be an appropriate description. For purposes of the rules that the city is putting into place, a service fee would be a fee that's collected by a food vendor and it's being passed on to employees as wages. And a surcharge is a fee that a food vendor collects separately from the itemized purchases. So we've covered the first 3 rules. Rule number 4 is also simple. We are asking that you provide a receipt that at minimum contains the date of the transaction, the amount of the transaction, any service fees or surcharges, any applicable taxes, and then the name and location of the food vendor. So on the right-hand side of your screen, you see a sample receipt that is included as part of the final version of the rules. So in this particular receipt, you see 1 café con leche, 1 extra espresso shot, 2 napolitanas de chocolate, and then there's a surcharge dine-in fee of $5. There's a subtotal, sales tax, gratuity, which was added by the customer in this case, and then an addition or total of those 3 categories. The receipt contains a date, and then there is the name and physical location of this particular fictional restaurant. And then finally, the 5th and final rule deals with individual price marking for certain items. So if you are a food vendor and you're engaged in the sale of prepackaged food items or any general merchandise, you are exempt from the city's individual price marking requirements. So in lieu of price marking, a food vendor can display a list of products and their prices. So think of this as a to-go section that's next to your cash register as customers are preparing to leave. I've mentioned issues that might impact the consumer. So this is information about how a consumer can file a complaint. So if you are a consumer and you feel that a business has violated the law by engaging in deceptive practices surrounding service fees, so not disclosing service fees up front, it not being available on a website through which orders can be made, individuals can alert BACP by filling out an online complaint form, calling 311, using the SHI 311 mobile application, or emailing BACP consumer-fraud@cityofchicago.org. And again, this will mainly be for not disclosing service fees or surcharges and someone being sticker shocked at the end when they receive a receipt after they're leaving a restaurant, for example. If you're a worker and you feel that your employer is collecting a service fee for something that should be passed on to you as wages, and they are not doing so, you can file a complaint with our Office of Labor Standards. Complaints can be submitted in person at any BACP facility via form, whether it's online or mail. Once again, you can call 311, you can use the SHI 311 mobile application, or you can visit the Office of Labor Standards website at chicago.gov/labor standards. Our email address for the Office of Labor Standards and a general phone number is located at the bottom of this screen that you're seeing. I know I've covered a lot of material in a very short amount of time. Here is general BACP contact information. So the Office of Labor Standards can be reached at 312-744-2211. Our Consumer Fraud Unit can be reached at 312-743-5185. Here are 3 email addresses that people can utilize to seek additional guidance or have any questions answered. BACP Labor Standards at cityofchicago.org, BACP consumer-fraud@cityofchicago.org, or our general outreach email intake, which is BACP outreach@cityofchicago.org. Both our business compliance enforcement teams, along with consumer fraud and the Office of Labor Standards, are both located at 2350 West Ogden Avenue on the 2nd floor, Chicago, Illinois 60608. I want to thank you for spending a few minutes of your day watching this instructional video. Thank you.